How
So
are you guys?
Good. How are
good.
you?
How are you?
It's really, really nice to meet you. The film was absolutely amazing. I love both of your performances. Um, Trevante, can you tell us about your character, Jimmy Fletcher?
Yeah. So Jimmy Fletcher is FBI agent who was tasked with the trouble of persecuting persecuting Billie Holiday, who was someone who was at the forefront of the civil rights movement. And throughout that journey, he fell in love with her, and it ended up being this really complicated situation. And hopefully, a good movie.
Tyler, what can you tell us about your role as a musician at Lester Young?
Lester Young is known as a man who redefined the tenor saxophone. But I think in a greater conversation as he relates to Billie, he was Billie's confidant and friend and brother and, platonic love in a lot of sense of the term. Lester was the writer, one of her ride or dies of her like kind of interior grouping that attempted to support her through this struggle that is her, not only addiction but her battle with the U.S. government.
And prior to the role of the film, how much did you know about Billie Holiday and Strange Fruit?
I mean, I know a good amount about Strange Fruit. I think most people in the Black community will know a lot about Strange Fruit. If your grandmother didn't teach you about Strange Fruit, then maybe she wasn't present. But Billie, I knew about her in connection to Strange Fruit, and I knew her musical catalog, but I didn't realize how much of a battle she really had in her life. It was pitched to us as like her battle was her addiction, but it seems as if the greater battle was really her fight um, to be one of the godmothers of the civil rights movement. We're talking about a decade before, the uprising of the 60s. She was one of the, I guess you could say, prequels of the energy that was coming, if you will.
Trevante, what attracted you or what initially attracted you to the script?
I think more than the script, there was the opportunity to jump into space with Lee Daniels, and like Lee was someone who I had been, I guess anybody, but really wanted to. I had someone who I wanted to work with for quite a while, and so when we had the chance to sit and talk about some stuff, he then introduced me to Andra's rendition of Strange Fruit, which further leaned me into the project. And so it was really just more about the creatives, being Andra and Lee,
Mhm.
that we were able to jump into space with, that really drew me to the project.
And Tyler, what was it like working alongside Lee Daniels?
Lee has stretched me as an actor more than I think really any other director has. His his drive for authenticity is very, very unique. He looks for any moment in which actors always we pick up quirks here and there where we like try to act our way through things every now and then, and he's gonna spot that out, shut the tape down, and start over. And I think that forced me to grow in a lot of ways because there was somebody looking for any inauthentic moment. And if you're not, acting isn't acting, it's being. You have to be in this person's skin in any moment that you're not. Having someone there to call that out and to call you on that is really valuable. And also the fact that he's fearless in the way that he does filmmaking. He doesn't care how what you're seeing is going to make you feel. He's going to show you the reality, whether you like it or not. And I think there's a lot of filmmakers who get scared about audience reception and whether or not this is going to be received and all of that. Lee's just making the film he wants to make, and that's what's really brilliant about
Trevante, how did you prepare yourself for filming in the 1940s America?
I spent a lot of time just really delving into I guess, that culture of music more than anything. But, you read a few books, you look up YouTube interviews of your favorite artists through that era, and you just try to take bits and pieces from all of these different influences and try to cultivate this character that's specific to, or at least I try to cultivate a character that's, or a color or a vibe or an essence or whatever it may be that's specific to whatever the painting is that we're trying to paint. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Uh, Tyler, how important is representation in film for you and being a part of the process and telling Black stories such as this one?
I think representation has had a platform that it's never really had before. And I think now we're seeing the power of it, particularly in this, award season. You're seeing more of our stories than really you've ever seen before contending, and they're all really, really good. But I think, representation can't stop. It's a ball that keeps rolling. And we can't stop just because there's a lot of it. We've been here before, right? We've seen the Black exploitation era. We've seen the boost of the 90s. And we keep falling off of the wagon as if we think, okay, cool, that's enough. We're good now. I'm looking forward to when representation is less of a conversation and more of just this story needs to be told by these grouping of people telling it themselves. That's what I'm looking forward to getting to. I think one of the traps that happens sometimes with representation is we kind of get into this checking off of boxes where we make ourselves feel good because, yeah, a bunch of people were represented. But I think it has to get past that and become more of a normalized aspect of our reality. So I do think it's very important, but I don't think we should stop the conversation there.
I agree. Trevante, your character's journey was absolutely transformative. What was it like to play this journey from FBI agent to ally?
It was fun because for me, at least in my experience as a Black man in America, man, I see, you see a lot of stuff. And so reading the script and seeing him to be this person who was put into this situation, it just brought me back to a lot of people that I know in my life, a lot of people that have been put into very compromising situations that they may have had to do some things that they didn't agree with to get themselves either out of that situation or to get themselves to a more successful situation. So, I look at the film and I look at his situation within the film as with sympathy, man. Like I feel bad for the guy because he just it was just a bad situation. I mean, I know that sounds terrible, man, because everybody keeps talking about how he was just so bad and all these things, but I really, I don't know, man. I see so many people who have been in that kind of compromising situation who you just can't really blame him. So I'm not saying that he's not at fault, but it's just every time, whenever I get that question, it's like, I just don't, I
That's
don't
real.
know that I can, you know what I mean? I don't know that I
That's
can say
real.
he's a terrible person. He's just a brother that got caught in a terrible situation and then he fell in love with this person. So it's just even more terrible, you know?
More layers.
Yeah, yeah. So it was fun to portray. So yeah.
Tyler, what was it like working alongside Andra Day?
It's one of those questions we keep getting that it feels like I'll never be able to accurately answer that.
Yeah.
It feels like I'll never be able to actually explain it. To work with a lead who not only feels the magnitude of the moment, but has actively attempted to shun the role itself because of that pressure and what comes with it, and understands the stakes, and is as tapped in as she was, is ideal. There's no other way I can really describe it other than ideal. I wish it was always that way. Rightfully so. She's in a lot of awards conversations right now, but I can honestly say, at least from my experience with her, that was not the intent going into it. And that's kind of what also makes it ideal. She wasn't here trying to win an Oscar. She wasn't here trying to, further her career. She was here telling a story of a woman who gave her, in a lot of ways, her professional name. That's where the day comes from. Somebody who understands and wants to just do a good job is ideal. And that's what it was. She just really wanted to do a good job and tell this story accurately. And I know that sounds simple, but it's rarer than you would think.
And Trevante, what was it like for you working opposite Andra Day?
Just a continuation of what Tyler said, man. It was just, I guess, like I may have said earlier, it's her spirit, man. Aside from the performance, it's her spirit. It's what was behind her eyes, when she was on set. So it was, yeah, man, it was an education. It was a breath of fresh air, That's, yeah, it's what you do it for. So it was reinvigorating.
Trevante, what is next for you?
We got some action stuff that we're thinking about dipping into, man, and a couple of books that we adapted that we're trying to piece together as well. So a couple things.
Awesome. Tyler, are we going to expect you in anything soon?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, always. I think I'm gonna, nothing I can like directly speak on, but I'm gonna stay in this space. I'll say that much. I'm gonna stay in this space telling, these types of stories in these types of time periods for a while. I like this space. I'm comfortable here. And that's probably where you'll see me next.
It fits you, bro. It fits you. It fits
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tyler, and thank you, Trevante, for taking the time to speak with us. Again, absolutely phenomenal performances from the both of you, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do next.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you for taking the time.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
You too.